Listen, I think we've got pretty much everybody on, Maurizio. Right? I'm
I believe
super,
so.
I'm super stoked to see everybody. Eat and drink at your own pace. That's the secret to this. If you want to go ahead and go through the meal, do the whole meal, pair the wines and foods as you like, have fun with it, enjoy it. The food's very, very good tonight. This evening's event is brought to you guys by the Italian Consulate here in Houston, and I'd like to give the floor to Dr. Federico Chattaglia, who is the General Consul for Houston. You guys may not know we have a Italian consulate here because there's a big Italian community here, big Italian business community, great Italian food and wine here. Uh, Consul Chattaglia, thank you. I love it when people come to my house and drop off a lot of delicious and interesting food and wine. So the floor to you, Consul Chattaglia, and thank you.
Thank you so much. I love you too. As I mentioned before, I was really impressed that such a huge amount of food, excellent wines, olive oil. You will taste cheeses from Trentino, wines from Umbria and Lazio, extra virgin olive oil, traditional sweets from Naples. So tonight you will have really the chance to have a virtual journey in Italy, and I'm more than glad to be here to open this event tonight during this second virtual edition of Taste of Italy. As you know, Taste of Italy has always been one of the most relevant exhibition on Italian food and wine in the United States. We have a lot of companies, Italian companies, having B2B meetings with many buyers from all the United States. We really hope in the coming future to come back to meet each other physically, because it's always a pleasure to share some fantastic prosciutto, some excellent wine, and taste the magnificent richness of the Italian cuisine. This event has been organized by the Italian American Chamber of Commerce of Texas in conjunction with the Consulate General of Italy, in the framework of the what we say promozione integrata, integral promotion of our country, which means supporting Italian companies, supporting Italian traditions, food and wine, but also exhibition, culture, Italian language, and so, scientific diplomacy, and so on. So it's a part of a large effort of our country to continue to be present worldwide, both physically and virtually. And I really hope that you enjoy the night. Thanks also to the efforts of Giancarlo. And when I see the dishes, the plates arriving, I was almost sure of what we are going to taste. So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you so much to the Italian Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much to the participants, and to Giancarlo and Amalfi Restaurant and Bar. Enjoy the night.
Thank you, Consul Chattaglia. This is already a super fun evening. And as you were saying, it's part of a larger program of the Italian government and the Italian Office of Foreign Affairs. It's part of their Extraordinary Italian Taste, True Italian Taste, and Authentic Italian Table campaigns that a lot of you guys have been on calls for these events we've done. Of course, the event tonight is presented by the General Consul, Federico Chattaglia, and the Consulate. It was put together tonight by the Italy America Chamber of Commerce South Central. And let me give the floor to the Deputy Director, Maurizio Gambarucci. I've got some thank yous too, but let me give the floor to Maurizio so he can welcome everybody. Welcome, Maurizio. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeremy, and thank you very much, Federico, for your words, for supporting also the 2021 edition of Taste of Italy, and for always, I have to say, believing in what we do. It means a lot to us. Thank you. So thank you and welcome everyone to the first Taste of Italy Authentic Italian Trade Show and Authentic Italian Table virtual dinner. This is the first one we do within the Taste of Italy. And thank you everyone for contributing to the success of this edition. I have to say, this dinner is in the midst of 2 weeks of what we call Taste of Italy Houston Trade Show and Festival. We started on Monday and we'll finish on Friday 26th, meaning next week, organizing one-on-one meetings between buyers and Italian producers residing in Italy at the moment. We're having 170 virtual meetings going on between 25 producers and more than 50 buyers. So as I said, the first week is the one we are living right now, and the schedule for the meetings is fully booked. But for the buyers present here today in our dinner, we have some spots available to meet with more producers next week. So go please on tasteofitalyhouston.com, and you can gather more information about it as well. I have to say something that I'm proud of working at the Italian Chamber of Commerce. We have all worked so hard to make all this possible, meaning this dinner, the webinar we had in the morning today, and all the 170 meetings that are going on. And we're getting for granted simple things during this pandemic, like just shipping the products from Italy has been easy in the past, or even shipping products and sample within the country or within the state of Texas. Believe me, it's not easy at all these days. It's more expensive and it requires a lot of work, coordination. So I couldn't be more thankful and grateful to my team that I belong to for the effort we all have been producing in the last 2 months, because to be here today, we started working 2 months ago at least. And Jeremy is part of the team as well. He knows very well. So a special thanks from me also to Alessandra Salvatore. I see her connected. She's the one for this dinner. Thank you, Alessandra, for being working until probably a minute ago, probably still texting to someone as we speak.
Thank you, Maurizio.
Not a problem. You're well deserved. We're certain that also this year, the ongoing B2B meetings will guarantee great business opportunities like it has always happened in the past. Jeremy has always mentioned that this event today has been possible with the support of the Extraordinary Italian Taste campaign, which is a campaign aimed to raise awareness of the authentic Italian foods and genuine Italian food ways. But also, this has been possible thanks to our sponsors. That's the time for me to mention all of you guys. Thank you very much to Velette Winery from Umbria and Silvestri Winery from Lazio for providing the wines we're about to taste, or we have already tasted a little bit. And also the delicious authentic ingredients used by Chef Giancarlo with Amalfi Ristorante. Thank you, Giancarlo, as well, for doing all this again with us. All these authentic ingredients have been used by Giancarlo are a generous gift of Olio Zucchi extra virgin olive oil. And we have Franco here in the call with us. Monti Trentini cheese. And we have Stefano Viero saying a couple of words. And Pasta Vero, whose representative is probably sleeping in Italy. It was too late for him to be in this call. In the box, though, you also have received fresh tomato sauce offered by Agromonte from Sicily. Let me tell you, Olio Zucchi products that you have already in your house and the Agromonte tomato-based sauces can be also purchased on the website magnificofood.com, also a partner of this dinner. I think I'm done with my speech and presentation. Really, thank you again, everyone. Jeremy, the floor is to you. Buon appetito. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Maurizio. And yes, Alessandra Salvatore, guys, I mean, you look what she delivered at your doorstep today. I mean, Alessandra, our girls went right for the sfogliatella. Alessandra's from Naples, and so I know she loved if we had a Neapolitan dessert tonight, it was probably because she had a hand in that. And guys, thank you, Alessandra, for Melody got her wine is in time for the dinner. Wow, that was Herculean. That was incredible. So we all really appreciate it, and we all owe her a thanks. And thanks to well, there's a lot of thanks to be given out tonight. I do want to give recognize Alessia Paulicchi, our director, the Italy America Chamber of Commerce director, who is the backbone of this whole organization and a wonderful person to work with, and Brando Ballerini, who is sitting in our president, who's sitting in his wonderful den with his Burkle slicer. As always, just wanted to give you guys a shout out. And, you know, this is all about community, and we're going to have time to catch up with everybody, and we can even do some socializing at the end. The Italy America Chamber of Commerce is so wonderful to work with, guys. And we thank you guys for the support of your time. I mean, hey, twist my arm and deliver all this great stuff to my house, but thanks for supporting. Thanks for being there. This is all about building community. It's incredible. The model that the Italy America Chamber of Commerce created, and Maurizio is probably the brain of all this stuff, is now like being copied around the country. I'm not kidding. People call us and say, so how did you do that with the logistics? And there's also another shout out to Maurizio Gambarucci, who I think everybody on this call already knows. And man, wouldn't it be awesome if we were having a glass of wine at Giancarlo's restaurant right now? I hope that happens soon. So that gives me my segue. I have so much to say, and look, I just set my Siri off on my phone, on my watch.
You're composing a long message.
Sorry about that. Technology, right? Can't live with it. That gives me my segue to Giancarlo. I have a lot to say about the foods we have and the olive oil and of course the wines, but I know, Giancarlo, you're busy in the restaurant. I hate to keep, do you mind jumping in, giving us and talking to us about the dishes, and could you give us some insights about the foods? And thank you guys. What a dinner, Giancarlo, chef. Phenomenal. I mean, from beginning, from the shrimp to the sfogliatella, I mean, really beautiful.
Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you again to have me for this wonderful dinner. And thanks to the Italian Consulate of Italy, Federico Chattaglia, and the Chamber of Commerce, and put all together. Alessandra, she did a fantastic job today to put all together. My team worked very hard to prepare everything in time for the packing and everything. The menu was easy because with all these beautiful ingredients, for a chef is like playing in the Toy Story. Yeah, so it's nice to have all these great ingredients and to play with. And Trentini Formaggi is one of the leader producer in Trentino of this beautiful cheese. So I was really have fun to play with it, especially with the first one, focaccia. By the way, I hope everyone receive all the instruction for reheating and everything. So follow those instructions and everything is going to be nice and warm. Okay. So the first one was the focaccia with the truffle cheese, and the focaccia, of course, was made also with the Olio Zucchi. And I suggest also to finish after you warm it up the focaccia with a little bit of biologic olive oil on top. The pasta is one of the best pasta I use with, very compliment to the pasta Vero. It's an excellent pasta. And the calamarata is one of my favorite. I use also at the restaurant many times. The reason why I choose the shrimps, of course, because we are on the Gulf, so we have to use something with the seafood, with the calamarata, and I pick some beautiful zucchini blossom and marry with the saffron and baby zucchini. And the reason why I choose the Vezzana stagionato for the pasta, to just the contrast between the saltiness of the cheese and the sweetness of the shrimps and the zucchini blossom. Hey, I know typically we don't put cheese with the seafood, but I believe that shrimps is one of the only few seafood that you can pair with formaggio piccante, a little bit sharp cheese. In this case, Vezzana, you're gonna be surprised when you eat it. It's very, very, very good.
And hey, chef, can I just jump in? And yes. I don't want to keep. You tell me if you're running out of time. But if you have a moment for us, wow, that was fantastic. Formaggio Vezzana, right? It's from Trento. We're just in the beginning of the Dolomite Alps, right? Mm-hmm. And as you go up the mountains there, you suddenly come down into these various plateaus, right? And this is where every Italian kid, Giancarlo will back me up on this.
Yes.
Every Brando will back me up on this. Every Italian kid knows the best cheese comes from the mountain. The cows that graze on the mountain. It's like it's an Italian proverb, right? And these cheeses that we also have some other types of cheese that we're going to taste tonight in the dishes. But the Vezzana, which he grated, which I thought was brilliant, and you wanted to top that on the shrimp, if I'm not mistaken.
After you warm it up, you just top it up a little bit the pasta with the grated. You don't have to use all of them, you know what I mean? Just to put a little bit at a time.
And I thought that was brilliant, chef. And it was such a, by the way, these come from the cooperative Monti Trentini, and shout out to Stefano VERO, who's on the call with us.
Ciao, Stefano.
From who's a wonderful guy, man. I just love talking about cheese with that man, and cows and mountains. And I just thought that was such a brilliant pairing that really showed how Italian food is about Italian food products.
Yes.
And even this kind of creative, brilliant pairing. Sorry, I just wanted to throw in some of the background there.
Absolutely. The Vezzana, like I say, it's a sharp. It can be aged even up to 2 years. So it's a very unique cheese. And when you go to the grocery store, to Whole Food or wherever you go to a grocery, look for it, because it's a nice cheese. And I love that. And I love to work with Liguria too, which is it's a milder cheese. It's like a kind of a Asiago kind of style of cheese. You can play with the filling. And in this case, I play in both sides with the filling with the ricotta and Liguria and spinach for the chicken. And I did a fondue. Then you're gonna warm it up and use on top of the chicken after you warm it up. And also you're gonna see the perfect combination of the crispiness of the chicken and the punchy taste of the spinach inside would be perfect pairing for the wine.
And Giancarlo, is the Suprema, the salsa, the polo, the chicken with salsa Suprema, such a classic dish?
Yes.
Is that on the menu all the time, or did you make that just for this?
No, we I just made for this event. I mean, I have on the catering menu. I have to say, many of the dishes also we have in the catering menu, because it's a dish that is very transportable. It's traveled very well when you have a catering. And you can see in this case we keep a little bit undercooking the chicken, just enough to be warmer up and dressed with the fondue.
Well, it was just so brilliant how, again, I mean, I bet Dale, who's on the call, Dale Robertson, who's on the call with us, will tell us some great stories about eating, because this is a dish you make in France too. It's made in both Italy and France. I thought that was brilliant. And it really, if you read about the history of Suprema, you know that sometimes you don't add cheese to Suprema. Cheese, like there's different ways. It's really a roux. We would call it a roux, right? That you can add different things by adding the Alpine cheese from Monti Trentini. You turned it into an Italian dish. Sapeva d'Italia. It had that you could taste Italy in it. I just thought that was unbelievably brilliant.
Yeah. At the end, you just use the technique, and then you pairing with the product to make a completely different dish. So this is the combination that usually the chef has to think about when you create a new dish. And of course, we finish with one of our classic, the sfogliatella napoletana that Alessandra is in love with. So she twists my arm. I say we have to put something, that I like to. So we put sfogliatella, which I think it's a perfect, ending for a great meal. And with the wine that you have, you're gonna have a great night.
Absolutely. And this is kind of banal, and actually, it's not one of the part of the event tonight, really. But the maraschino cherry, that's an Italian food product that we take.
Absolutely.
Italy gave us that. Think about how powerful. I mean, maraschino cherry you could buy from Baskin Robbins to Alain Ducasse. It's a product, an Italian, only could be made in Italy. That it's just part of the culinary language to lexicon today. And that's a banal example, but it's a Neapolitan, it's a take on a French pastry with an Italian. Again, you add an Italian product and it becomes Italian. Really brilliant.
Thank
Now,
you, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
I actually have even more questions. You guys know, everybody here knows each other, right? We all love talking about food and food and wine. I know chefs, I don't want to keep them to it. Who has a question for Giancarlo, or comment, or wants to say hello to chef, or
I hope you start eating already.
Pardon?
They already start to eating, I guess, no?
Oh yeah, no, they've been eating. Trust me. How could we started eating as soon as we got the food? We got it ready. We had dinner with that. We ate the whole dinner. Well, Tracy saved some.
I'm just gonna take a bite, and then I'm just gonna take.
We ended up eating with the girls, and they love. You know what they went crazy over tonight, Giancarlo, was the focaccia. They were like, "What is that?" And then they would have our older ones getting into prosciutto now, and then she was like, "Wow, there's speck." I mean, and I want to talk more about a lot of the products. But who has a question for Giancarlo, or a comment?
I'd like to ask Chef Giancarlo something.
Arlene, good to see you, Arlene.
Hi, Arlene, how are you?
Good, thank you. I know you made all this amazing food, and this may sound silly, but the tomatoes that came as part of the potatoes with the focaccia. Yes. They're like the most delicious tomatoes ever.
Yeah, those candied tomatoes. Then we do the restaurant. Basically, they're cherry tomatoes marinated with the sugar, salt, thyme, garlic, and olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
And then lay down in a sheet pan with wax paper, and then let dry overnight over the oven. Basically, they dry overnight, and they become like sweet because the percentage of sugar and salt is just a delicious thing. So I thought maybe in the potato, more than also color, give a little bit of a twist to the potato salad, which is made completely with the olive oil, just dosed with olive oil and a little bit of shallots, scallions, and sea salt and sun-dried tomatoes. I mean, semi-dry tomatoes.
And guys, I need to tell you about the olive oil, but who else wants to jump in and give some?
Jeremy, I'll chime in here.
Dale, everybody knows Dale. We all know each other, but I got to call out our great friend Dale Robertson, who just kind of lights up our room every time we do one of these.
Oh, stop, Jeremy.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, a couple of thoughts. I want to thank Chef for approving using a nice grated cheese for shrimp, because I know some people say that's not possible, but it always works for me.
Yes.
So thank you for making that possible.
No problem.
Yes, it's okay.
Thank you. This is what I said. When you use a right amount in a particular seafood, it's surprisingly good. So I have to say,
I think it's spectacular with
thank you.
With shrimp and pasta dish, and I'm actually sitting here with an Italian friend of mine who wants to know, where on earth did you get this speck? Because it is outstanding. So can you? I know if you tell us, you'll have to kill us, but tell us anyway.
Tell about what? Sorry, I don't get that.
Where are you sourcing your speck from?
The speck is a regular speck, which is one of the most famous speck in Trentino, and of course I got from my best supply in town, Friedel Landa, which select food and wine. Ciao Friedel, wherever you are, I don't see you, but I know you are there.
Any chance they sell retail?
Yes, I think they sell in also in HEB. I saw in HEB as well. I mean, supermarket and Whole Food.
Okay.
No, but of course, it will be an honor to receive any of you at the warehouse, and some of you have been there, so please feel free to swing by, and we prepare a nice basket for you guys.
So what time tomorrow?
Guys, you bring up a really good point that if anybody has any follow-up, and guys, Friedel Landa is a lot of the Italian food products you eat in, and wines as well, that you consume in Houston come through his office. He's a dear friend of the chamber and a wonderful, lovely guy. And you guys can follow up. If anybody has questions, even if it's just for your personal consumption, like, hey, can I go, where do I find this? Maurizio and I are available to answer those questions, to put you in touch with Friedel. These events are all about connecting you guys. So don't hesitate to follow up. And Dale, I love that, we get that, this is great. These are great food products. The spec is not part of our group tonight, but we can get that stuff in Houston. It's great. You can get that. It's a wonderful time, even with all the disruptions. I don't know if anybody was on our webinar this morning. We had a lot of talk about some of the shipping disruptions that are affecting the food and wine world, and again, Friedel played a big role. I mean, he's another person beyond Maurizio Alessandro. This was a Herculean effort, guys. There's a shipping crisis right now in the world, and then we had the winter storm crisis, which has everybody who works in the food trade knows what I'm talking about.
Can I just step in for a minute? I would like to just elaborate on the cheese a little bit that you mentioned. This is a really fabulous example of terroir with cheese, because what makes this cheese so special is it's alpine cheese only made between June and September, when the cows are in the high mountains eating the high protein grass, which makes the butter fat so much stronger in their milk. And it's the altitude and the clear water and the clear air that makes this cheese different than any other cheeses you're going to get throughout the year.
Yeah, and guys, I'm just going to ask everybody to remember to mute themselves if they're not. Sir, I don't know your name because I can only see Mary, but
Peter Griska with Specs.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, so you sell these cheeses. We
sell these cheeses and we sell the spec.
Yeah. Okay, great. So there you go. There's building community, and I love. I have a lot to say about the cheese too, but you said it so well. This is one of those great examples of terroir. And I think the Vetsina, which you actually could just taste, the first thing I did, excuse me, was I stuck my fingers and took a pinch of Vetsina and tasted it. Did you notice it was such a unique flavor? It wasn't Parmigiano, it wasn't Pecorino that we're used to. It was less salty, but more spicy. And he said it so well. These things could only be made in this unique place, these high plains in the mountains, by these people who have developed these traditions, because, et cetera, really, really great stuff. And only because if anybody, and Stefano, I want to check in with you in a second. I know you're eager to jump in. Just hold on for me. And Stefano's a lovely, lovely guy. Anybody else have a question for Chef? Maybe just in case he needs to go. Mike, did you want to?
Yeah, Jeremy, I've got a question for Giancarlo. And I think
you guys know Mike Rossetti is one of our local food writers, food journalists, a great guy to travel with. I wish we were having a glass of wine at the bar at Amalfi right now.
We both are actually, but just in different places. I think the combination of the Giancarlo, the combination of the cheese and the shrimp are terrific.
Thank you.
I was told by a restaurateur in Italy that cheese and seafood are sort of like the devil in holy water. But
I know. A lot of think that way, and I was thinking that way too, not so many years ago. But when you try to, tasting and after tasting, and you try to find a way to, to combine those ingredients, you're gonna find, things that you surprise yourself, when you cook with a different ingredient, and like I said before, with the moderation. I mean, when I say use a cheese on top, I mean, you don't cover with more cheese than shrimp, because it's gonna be a different story.
It's not shrimp scampi.
So don't do it in the American way.
No, it's like, just put, it's like put truffle on the pasta. You know what I mean? You want to enhance the pasta with the perfume of truffle. In this case, you want to.
Is there too much truffles on pasta? Is that possible?
No, it's not possible. But no, the cheese just give you a little bit hint of spiciness and a different taste. They make the dish completely different.
Oh, it's terrific. Are there any other seafood that you would recommend that might a cheese like this complement?
Probably I will try like maybe in a crab cake, maybe. You know what I mean? Just doing in the mix to see how it work. Can be a good way to try the bezzena as well. As long as you use with something sweet, it will be always a good pairing for me.
Okay, good. And one last question. How do you like our Gulf white and brown shrimp versus gambero rosso?
Well, it's a two different ball game there. You know what I mean? Those are completely different. I mean, I will keep the gambero rosso completely raw and eat it, and or just barely saute. You know what I mean? This is it's delicious things. Then you have to eat, by myself. I mean, very, very unique flavor. I will not put. Let's put it that way. I will not put bezzena on the gambero rosso. Okay, let's leave it right there. Because the unique flavor.
I think everybody agreed that the shrimp was really great. And guys, I do want to get to you, Stefano. Give me just a minute. I do want to jump in a word from our sponsor. No, I do want to talk. What do you guys think about this sparkling wine? I know most of you have moved on from the sparkling wine, but I'm actually still on the sparkling wine. Are you guys enjoying it?
Yes, it's wonderful.
It's very nice, very smooth. So this is Cantine Silvestri. We don't have them on the line with us today. This is from appellation called Castelli Romani, which I bet a lot of people know is the area outside of Rome where all the papal villas are. It's a beautiful part of Rome. It's a hilly part of Rome. It's a great place to go. We remember drinking Castelli Romani and Frascati when we were kids. And this is an unusual producer there. We're gonna taste their Cesanese, is the first red wine, which is a classic red grape of Lazio, which is the region of which Rome is capital, besides being the capital of Italy. So we're in central Italy. It's all volcanic soil, guys. It's and we're actually going to taste another. We always, Tom can support me on this. We're always talking about volcanic wines, this and volcanic wine. We forget that there's volcanic wines all over Italy, and this is a great example of volcanic wine. This is a Chardonnay, if I'm not mistaken, that's made using the tank method, so not dissimilar from the way you make Prosecco. And I thought this wine was fresh. It was clean. I was very pleasantly surprised by this wine. And the story behind this wine is that the father, when the Americans liberated Rome, the officials came up, to hang out in the villas outside of Rome in the papal area and said, "We need champagne, man." And so this very forward thinking guy said, I'm growing great Chardonnay. They started making sparkling wine for the American soldiers, and it became extremely popular. And there's this whole legacy. It's actually a really interesting story. It's really great people. What do you guys think about the wine? And I want to hear about.
Hey, Jeremy,
Mm-hmm.
can you, since we're talking wine, a couple of things. Obviously, I'm very interested in local availability. So any thoughts on the three wines? And can you go ahead and talk, well, we've got you now, talk about the two reds. The Lazio wine is outstanding. Please tell me it's not $100 a bottle.
No, these are not. I haven't seen the pricing on these ones. If Maurizio can correct me, I'm pretty sure that both Cantine Silvestri, which is from Rome, and then the last wine is a Sangiovese from Umbria by Tenuta Le Velette, which I'll tell you guys about. I believe they're all looking for representation in Texas, and they were part of. Is that correct, Maurizio?
That is correct. There are a few distributors in this call that have been tasting these wines these days. Hopefully, some of them will pick them up. You can see, guys, there are already a lot of clients here.
And guys, it's part of this amazing thing that is Taste of Italy virtual, is that they're sending us the wine, and more people are tasting the wine. More people who really It's a really interesting program. So you can't get any. I don't believe. This is a tank method wine that I believe. These are really smart people. They know, they're ready for America. They already sell wine in other parts of America. I'm pretty sure this is a by the glass wine. So which would mean it would be, probably under $20 retail, or $25, let's say. The next wine is their Cesanese, which I need to taste, is their Cesanese, which is the local, we were on our call this morning, we were talking about how many, thank you. I love how Tracy's like my sommelier. So sweet of her. We were talking about, there's how many Italian grape varieties are there? Brian Larkey was saying 600. Somebody was saying 3,000. And it's so true that you go to everywhere, there's always another grape variety. How many people on this call have ever tasted a Cesanese besides Melania? And well, a lot of people. Fuad, and great to see you, Fuad. And he's another one of our, Almaden is one of our Olerich wines. Another one of our great chamber members and friends. Not a lot of people in America have tasted a Cesanese. Known for its, again, these are volcanic wines. I think these wines are fantastic. I love Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon from Rome and outside of Rome. All volcanic soils. Cesanese is known for its white pepper note. Let's see if it, what do you guys think? Unusual, right? Any thoughts, guys? Oh, that's beautiful. Nice fruit, nice freshness.
Yeah, lots of good thoughts, Jeremy. This is a killer wine, and it's
oh my gosh.
And it's IGT, which tells me it's not going to break the bank. So.
And I don't, and I wouldn't want to speak out of place about the pricing. I imagine, well, I'm not going to say, I don't want to speculate what I think the pricing is. What a wine though, right? I hadn't tasted, this is my first taste of the wine.
Okay, but Jeremy, let me interject something for Chef too here. I'm drinking it right now with the chicken, and which I think is a beautiful pairing, but in large part because of your cheese sauce. Can you talk about the cheese sauce a little, Chef?
Well, and for the second dish, we use the Liguria. Like I said before, it's a milder cheese, like pretty much like a Asiago. Yeah. And I use more in the fondue than I made as a sauce than inside. Inside, I put like 10% of the filling. It's made with the Liguria cheese. This is another perfect representation of how you can use the Alpine cheese in those kind of preparation, even with you can make a sauce of it and maybe dress a pasta or risotto with it. So it's a very versatile cheese, and it's an excellent taste. And in this case, I think it's a perfect pairing with the one you drink right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The spiciness of the wine is like so nice against especially the texture of that dish. And let me just jump in and tell you guys about the last wine. Is a Sangiovese from Umbria. How many folks have been to Umbria? A couple people. San Francesco, St. Francis of Assisi, Melodies. Isn't it just for the Melody? Isn't it one of the most beautiful? It's one of the most undeveloped parts of Italy. So you really see these landscapes there. Again, volcanic soils. And Tenuta le Velette, guys, it's so funny that they're here at Taste of Italy. In Italy, Tenuta le Velette is one of the most iconic wineries of Umbria. They make great wine. They're all about, it's a very ancient estate that the current family bought in the 19th century. It's one of those weird anomalies of one of the most famous wineries in Italy that nobody here. And they make great whites. Orvieto makes great white wines, Greco. I'm sure they grow some Malvasia. And then they make these beautiful, I don't have that wine in my glass yet, but I know these wines. 13% alcohol, Sangiovese from Umbria. Yes, right? This is going to be stainless steel, fresh, juicy, honest. One thing, I just have to throw it in, about Tenuta le Velette, they have one of the most amazing Their cellar is built into the volcanic soil. They believe it was a Etruscan catacomb. It definitely was a Roman catacomb. But it's believed to go way back past the Romans, that over the centuries has been different things, and they don't use any temperature control. They make a lot of wine. It is commercial winery, high quality wine that's very consistent. I love Tenuta Le Velette. And I don't know, did we lose Stefano? I see Stefano yawning. Stefano, are you okay?
I'm perfectly fine, and I'm enjoying you guys. But most of all, I'm enjoying the description and the vocabulary that you have, Jeremy. I mean, very few people probably knows that Jeremy has graduated in a very old university of Italy with a specific how can I say, Jeremy? How can you translate that in English that people can understand the very uniqueness of what do you know about the Italian literature?
Oh, well, I'm blushing. I need to learn how to say in Italian, arrosire. I'm blushing. No, I interviewed Stefano and that's so kind of you, Stefano. And I interviewed him for a piece we did, a YouTube piece, and he and I just hit it off. I mean, just talking about Veneto and Trento, and he's just we just speak the same language, and just really great guy. One thing about I want to say, just because we're taking it back to Taste of Italy and all these programs, is that Stefano's just like, he's ready to go. He lives in Connecticut. He's selling these cheeses. To me, and you appreciate this, Stefano, having gone to the University of Padua, to see someone would come down from the mountain and say like, I have a piece of Vetsina, like let's make a dish. And these are cheeses it's so incredible that we have these tonight and in Houston. And I'll just say one thing about it's a cooperative. The company that he works for is a cooperative. Only in Italy would a cooperative where people essentially bring their milk in together. They all taste the milk together. They say, okay, you're going to make this cheese. You're going to make this cheese. We're going to help market it together. It's all about territory, as correctly says Peter before from Specs. Is about the terroir that makes the difference in everything that we made. And my president, which is 87 years old guy, he will love Giancarlo tonight because when he saws that Giancarlo put the cheese into the fish, and every time that we have that situation, he says, I want to remind you, and that's what he told me still today, he says, I want to remind you that it's the consumption that makes the profit. So Giancarlo, you did the right thing, and we all agreed that you have a most beautiful kitchen in Houston. So I want to thank also Maurizio, because Maurizio is the Deus ex machina in all these things, and without Maurizio Gamberucci, none of this can be done. So I wanna thank you for his passion and commitment. As well, I wanna thank you, Friedel and Mauro, because those are the people that help us distributing the product around Texas, and we are proud. As I said, my president, which is 87 years old guy, still today, once a month, the only thing that he wants to do, he wants to jump on his old Land Rover Defender, which I guess he has more than 35 years. And he wants to go around the mountain to see the farmers, because, we collect the milk, as I said in our speech, Jeremy, we collect the milk in more than 160 different farmers in 17 valley around the Trentino region and the Veneto and the north part of the Veneto region. So this is very important for us, and we are proud of that. And I'm happy that tonight with me there are other people like Umberto from Zucchi, which they are people that they are proud of the quality of the Italian product, and they are proud, maintaining and developing the distribution into the US, which is very important because, all you guys knows
how much difficult sometimes is to distribute the product, how much difficulty is to get the product into the pipeline, because there are so many products out there. And in order to promote the product, it's a constant effort. And I thank all of you for that.
Well, and I just want to follow up on something so important that you said, Stefano. Guys, the thing that's so magical about what Stefano's company does is that I think you said 160 plus farms over 17 valleys, I think you said, rough, more or less. The thing that is so magical about what they do is all of this stuff is farmed by families, right? No ranch, these are all small ranches that grow other crops that no way, I mean, in another era, you drove your Lambretta up to Trento and bought cheese during the summer and you drove back down, or your Cinquecento, and it's incredible that these cheeses that literally come from a family, I'm not kidding, that each one of these wheels, these forms that get shipped, comes from a family farm. It's not like they take the cheese and just pour it all into the same vat. No, they make it possible for these cheeses to get out of those valleys. It supports entire community. It's such a magical thing, an economic model that could only exist. There's some examples in France and some in Germany, but Italy is very special, partly because the terrain of Italy is so demanding. You're up in the Alps. You need the support. You can't just, you're not on the, it's such an interesting project. And the cheeses I thought were phenomenal. I thought, and I loved again how Giancarlo used them in creative ways. It's very Italian way of cooking. Any thoughts about the cheeses, guys? Any questions? And I do. Anybody want? Anybody want?
I'm going to say something real quick.
And guys,
first off,
I have to introduce
the chicken dish is.
Shout out to you, Tom. That Tom is our Italian wine person at Specs. He's kind of new to Houston. He's a Texan, and
a couple years now.
He is one of the loveliest guys in our business, and he's doing so much for Italian wine in Texas today. He's the Italian wine buyer for Specs. So welcome, Tom, my good friend.
I appreciate it. I'm first off, I'm just gonna say this chicken is absolutely delicious. My cat was really trying to get after some of this food here for a second, but I'm just gonna say the Sangiovese with the chicken dish is perfect, and I will say 2015 Umbrian Sangiovese, when I saw it, made me a little bit nervous because it's rocking. I mean, it's drinking really, really well. The fruit's still there. It's a little bit dried out. Honestly, I think this is in a very happy place, especially with this chicken dish. It's perfect where it is right now.
Tom, I thought the same thing about this pairing, and this is current release for Tenuta Leva. I mean, they sent this as a trade sample, so that this is one of the wines. And I can't talk about pricing, but this is one of those wines that will show up at a by the glass. I think this is like designed to be that by the glass. It's so Italian. Like, this is the wine you drink. Everybody comes back from Italy and they go, "Oh, I drank the table wine. It was so much better." That was it. Was this wine? Where Italians know really good wine, very food friendly. The alcohol. To me, the thing that makes this wine is the alcohol. It's like acidity, flavor. Do your thing. I'm gonna hang back here. I'm gonna make it nice. I'm gonna, enhance the food a little bit. But let the other guys do the heavy lifting. And I just think that's Italian. That's what Italian, great. And of course it's Sangiovese, the quintessential red Italian grape. I mean, that they grow in every region of Italy, that finds its greatest expression in Tuscany, in Montalcino, in Chianti, but in so many other places too. And this is like that wine, and not in a demeaning way, that you want to drink in the trattoria.
Everyone asked me, well, if you were to pick, what's the most versatile red varietal with food? For me, I think it's a tie between two different varietals. one being Sangiovese and the second being Pinot Noir. I mean, you can put Sangiovese and Pinot Noir with dang near anything, and it's gonna work at least pretty well, if not very well.
Hey, Tom, this is an Italian show, so we're gonna.
Sorry, Pinot Nero. There we go.
I'm giving you a hard time, and you know, I'm always the first to say that Italy is my signora and Burgundy is my mistress, but don't tell my wife that. I've been working on that one. No, I like what you're. One of the things I think is so interesting about what you just said is these, like Pinot Noir so evokes France, Sangiovese evokes Italy. I mean, there's no grape, not even Nebbiolo, where you have this wide range from the greatest to this just beautiful Sangiovese from Umbria with these kind of softer tones that I think is just right, you know. Anybody, and I still have to talk to you guys about the olive oil. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, and we'll have a little social visit you know, we still need to talk about dessert and stuff. Anybody want to jump in with a thought, an impression, a taste?
Jeremy, I had a question about the cheese. We've been watching the Stanley Tucci show on CNN, Searching for Italy, and in one episode, it was all about the cheese that they had from the cows in the mountains, like you were talking about earlier. And I'm wondering, how does the altitude really affect the quality of the cheese and the milk that comes from the cows?
Well, Stefano, do you want to take? I mean, I can offer my thoughts. Sure. And guys, Bob Ruggiero, Loretta Ruggiero, Bob's a music writer for the press. Loretta's a food writer for the press, and lovely people who I hope will be at our next Hanukkah party, like everyone else on this call. So it's great to see you guys. Stefano, do you want to talk about that, about altitude and cheese?
Absolutely. Well, that's a very simple thing that affects the cheese and the quality of the cheese when we collect the milk in high altitude. First of all, we collect the milk in a different valley. So valleys are exposed to sun and are exposed to the weather in a different way. The meaning is we have flour and specific different type of flour in each different area, which grow more than others. So to give you an example, you see the Vezena is, as Peter said correctly before, and I thank him for being so detailed and specific. The quality of Vezena is because it's being collected in the summertime and in a specific valley where the valley are more open. So we have more flour, we have more yellow flour, cows are pastured outside. Obviously, the quality of the grass on the ground makes a big difference, and that's because the fat content of the milk comes from the grass, and also the high altitude, because we collect milk from 6,000 to almost 9,000 feet of altitude. Those are the difference that are made because the quality of that specific area is completely unique. Rest aside the part that when we process the milk on a summertime, the quality and the flavor are definitely more open than in the wintertime as nature works out of it. So those are all the different specifics that makes the difference in high altitude and different valleys between one to another. For example, Vezena is a valley, Lagorai is another valley. Those are different places. For example, Vezena is also a slow food presidium. We are defending an old tradition in that area because those farmers were still producing that type of cheese and that milk more than 250 years ago. So we are still protecting that heritage in terms of knowledge and in terms of quality. Just to give you an idea and more aspects of history and about Vezena.
And Stefano, let me, and that's great. And I'll just jump in, like, just to underline, it's really the quality of the grasses, and the different grasses grow and have different flavors. And as Peter said from the get-go, what happens is the cheeses are pretty much made in the same way, but they all taste different because of as Stefano was saying, the flowers that appear there. It's all about what the cows eat. You know, we all know that that's what's. The other thing is that's really interesting, and I just want to throw this in, mountain cheese making, is that you're in cool climate. You're in the mountains. And so even when you're milking cows during summer, you get higher quality cheeses. It's harder to make cheese when it's the hot valley floor in the middle of summer, right? And that's part of why these traditions developed in the mountains. And what he's talking about is they've been carried on, that you can continue to make you don't need the temperature control. You don't need everything to be refrigerated all the time. I know that sounds like a banal thing, and I hope, Stefano, I'm not talking out of line, but it's a big part of why these traditions could only develop in this little valley called Vetsina, this little village called Vetsina. So great question. And before we talk about the olive oils, does anybody have any questions about the wines? And anybody hate the wines? There's no winemakers on this call.
Hey, Jeremy.
Oh, Guy, I'm sorry. And guys, Guy Stout, a member of the Court of Sommeliers that you guys all know from just one of our wonderful wine educators and wine professionals, and a lovely guy who's mentored so many people in our community. Guy Stout, please jump in.
I think the wine selections are delicious. It's been very sympathetic to the food, and the food has been fantastic. That chicken with this Sangiovese, I just went back and tried it, is unbelievable. I just, a 2015 Sangiovese, 13 alcohol, so it was definitely some ripe fruit, but it really played well with that the stuffing and the chicken. It's just delicious. I like the bubbles. I think it is Charmat or tank method, but it's very clean. It's very nice and fresh, and hopefully it's not too expensive, but it's just really clean. It's a great way to start this thing off, and I applaud you for the selection. This Cesanese, what's going on with this? I do like a little peppery hint. I'm a big fan of Umbria and Lazio wines. Those are ancient wines. There's especially Umbria, the Sangiovese just impressed the hell out of me. Umbria is the tree hugger central of Italy. Every time I go there, I'm amazed. I'm a big Orvieto fan. So when you're in Umbria, if you can't pass Orvieto, that village is just mystical. But the wine here is just delicious. I love how they did their expression of Sangiovese. It's just extremely well made. I like all the wines, very good choices. And chef, I need to get myself to a Mafe as soon as possible. So cheers.
Great. Cheers to you, Guy. And it's great to be with you on this call. And again, you kind of circled around to what Tom said, and I'm sure Dale shares this, and the other wine people like me. Sangiovese, right? Just killer just right Sangiovese.
I would add the Pinot Nero of Alto Adige and Tiroligo are as good a Pinot as you can find. They're delicate. They're extremely earth-driven. If I hear you say volcanic one more time, oh my God.
Well, I appreciate that, Guy.
That's great. But I also enjoy Garnacha or Cananao, as we would down in Sardinia. I think that grape plays along very well with the Pinot Nero and Sangiovese theme. So beautiful wines, great stuff. Thank you for having me as part of this. It's been an honor.
Well, it's great to have you, Guy. It's great to be tasting with you. And like I said, Guy is someone who's mentored so many people in our community. Clearly not me, but that's okay. Uh, it's great to have you guys. It's always great to taste with you. It's always an interesting experience, and I agree. The food tonight was. I mean, this was a really. These are always really good, and we've done. You know, Giancarlo does a lot of these. Let's talk a little bit, and I don't know if we still have Franco Denari on the call with us. I know he was on at some point. And oh, hey, there's Sandra and Scott. I didn't even see you guys. Hey, oh, hey, Erica. It's awesome to see you, man. I haven't seen you. I didn't know. I couldn't remember if you were on the last. It's so awesome to see you. And Erica, you guys is one of our local top. Like you guys have is one of our great bloggers. If you don't follow her, you need to follow her. I see. Well, who else am I seeing here? Anyway, is Franco still on, or did we?
We have Umberto. We have
That is
Umberto.
me. Hi, Jeremy.
We got Umberto. Hey, Umberto. I'm sorry. And sorry for the mix-up. Okay. So
No
Umberto,
problem.
With Zucchi oil, and guys, I'm just gonna start by saying hello. You know, I know Guy's gonna be mad for me saying this again, but 4 bottles of olive oil, pretty nifty. These are really high-quality olive oils. And guys, the products that are here tonight are part of the Taste of Italy Festival. This is this is just the iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg of some of the great stuff and I know a lot of you guys are already doing tasting calls with these people. Media, we love it if you guys do it too. We are going to be doing in coming weeks, it's kind of the extension of the Taste of Italy Festival. We are going to be doing both media and trade tastings of Zucchi olive oil. So, by the way, if you want to score yourself another flight of olive oil, that's one way to get it. No, but these are really high quality olive oils, and I'm going to let Umberto. And again, apologies for the mix-up. You guys are in Cremona. You're an oil press in Cremona. One of the things that you guys are doing, and I don't want to go into like some of the problems with the olive oil that we get in this country, but the biggest problem with olive oil in the world, I'm not talking about Italy by any means, is provenance. It's so tricky to be able to look at a bottle of olive oil and say, this was grown in Italy, this was pressed in Italy, okay, which is a big deal. That makes a big deal. And it's one of those things that like we're so crazy about wine. Okay, it comes from this vineyard and this family and this, or even the cheese comes from this valley. But then we go, and I don't want to name names, we go to where we all go. I know where you go. And then you buy an olive oil and it says Italy and it has oil from Tunisia. And I don't have anything. I've had delicious Tunisian olive oil. I've had delicious Spanish olive oil, great Greek olive oil, but it's one of the great kind of disconnects. And tell us a little bit, Umberto, about the olive oils. And again, guys, if you're interested in doing a class with these guys, which I'm really excited about, I'll be on the call too. Hit me up. Umberto, tell us a little bit about Olio Zucchi.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, everybody, to having us part of this event. It's always great for us, to be part and to share what we do in Italy and what we try to export in the US. And it's always great to melt our cultures together. So yeah, I have the pleasure to represent in this beautiful country the Zucchi family. And as Jeremy was saying, the company is very focused on no compromises when it comes about the quality and the transparency to the consumer, especially in this very challenging category like the olive oil. And to do that, the Zucchi family, after a year of innovation, we came up with this idea to have a traceable olive oil. So of course, on the bottle of olive oil you have in front of you the Italiano 100%, for example, there is a QR code where we communicate to the customer in which region, which variety of olive oil we get. And another aspect very important for the company is the sustainability. So we make sure that we keep a supply chain sustainable. So this means that for us, we have a social responsibilities to our employees, first of all, and our vendor, of course. And then we have also economical and environmental sustainability as well. To give you an idea, we try to don't move the olives and the olive oil press on trucks, for example, to avoid pollution. So we have trucks of the train that they get straight into our factory in Cremona, because the Zucchi family is a family that now has over 200 years history in this in the production of olive oil, and not just olive oil. Because the company actually in 1810 we started with the production of seeds oil. That is for us also a very, very important division of the production. And but yes, it's a very, very, very challenging category. We know that we have to bring added value, and we have to bring clear information about the product. As olive oil company, we approach the consumer like a wine company, because we try to explain also that, like for the wine, you can pair an olive oil also with dishes, right? So in fact, there is different profiles of olive oil. So you have a medium, a bold, or very light olive oil. So we also, I would say, invest time and resources in with our blend. We have a blend master team that Jeremy was mentioning before about these classes. So we're gonna have part of our team that they are blend masters. So what is a blend master? A blend master is a person. We have a lab with different PhD persons, so very, very skilled about that. That they taste every day samples of olive oil from all over Italy and all over Europe, because we, as you may know, for the request of production yearly, we need also to get some olive oil also from Spain, also from Greece, for certain kind of blends, right? Because in order to have different profiles, you cannot just use always Italian olives varieties. So we have this team of blend master. So they craft the oil, they taste every day hundreds of samples, and then we come up with the product. And in the US market, we are pretty young, I would say, since we opened the branch last year. And so far we have been doing great, also because we have great partners. We work in Texas with Manuel, who is here on the call today, and I want also to thank Manuel for the great efforts he does, because he's the kind of person that when he believes in a product, then he put a lot of efforts in that. So we are doing a great job with them, and so this is very important to us also to find the right one.
Let me jump in, and I'll say that, you know, again, guys, this is something not to miss if you're interested in learning more about how olive oil is made, and how, more importantly, how to taste olive oil. And even if you're not going to be on that call, but hit me up, guys. I can put you on the call. I mean, we want you guys on the call, and we appreciate your support. But if you're not going to be on the call, you know, take these out. You have all this lovely olive oil in front of you. Use it. Start out by, you know, putting it on a warm piece of bread just to taste the oil itself, or even just put it in a little glass and taste it, just to begin. And, you know, spend some time with it. Don't just throw it in a salad. Don't just try to taste it with a couple of neutral things. And, you know, we can talk again. Join our class. Enjoy these olive oils. I will say this about Zucchi: of all the companies that are here at Taste of Italy, and we have so many wonderful things, guys. I mean, we just couldn't put everything on this dinner. It would have just been, we would have been here all night, and we need some time to visit too. But I think Zucchi is going to become, like, 3 years from now, you're going to be walking past a stacked row of Zucchi. These guys are really smart. They make very high quality products, and they're smart marketers. We're talking to Umberto, and I think Franco too, are based in New York or Connecticut.
Exactly. But New York.
You know, these guys are ready to go. You're going to see it. They're already in Texas. This for them was more of like, hey, we want to get some more people tasting these oils. This company is going to go. this is the long ball, and I think it's great. I think we're hyper aware of wine, but then we forget about olive oil, even though that's such a part of people who love wine use a lot of olive oil. So what do you guys think? Anybody have any thoughts about these olive oils? I mean, I know I know Chef said, drizzle it over the focaccia, or, you drizzle it over the pasta, an oil like this these are so richly flavored olive oils. They're so vibrant in their flavors that they really, it's cliche, but they can bring something back to life. Not that these dishes needed that, but we use olive oil for everything. We cook our eggs in olive oil at our house. We use olive oil for frying. We use olive oil for whether it's fried chicken or making fried eggs. We use olive oil, and to have an oil like this, the other thing that's really interesting about these is, so much of aromatized olive oil, is not really infusions, it's aromatized. These guys actually, wait till you taste the infused olive oils from them. I think you guys will be really, really impressed. I mean, the chili pepper is like now designated for pizza night, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who's been to a pizzeria in Italy knows that you put chili infused olive oil, but you don't want to put crappy olive oil that's been flavored with chili powder. No, you want an olive oil. It's a really interesting product that's bringing kind of a different take, trying to translate that. We don't have that culture here where the pizzaiolo has the olio del padrone, in the back, and he's been infusing it for the last 3 months, and it's like, oh, you put that on the pizza and it's like so perfect. We don't have that culture here, and that's kind of what, tell me if I'm speaking out of line, Umberto, it's kind of what you guys are putting in a bottle here. So anybody want to jump in, or?
I'd like to jump in and just make some comments about olive oil and the uses of it. Again, this is Peter with Specs.
Hi, Peter, how are you?
Really, two types of olive oil. Two uses for olive oil. One is for cooking, like you said, cooking with eggs and cooking with a meat or something. And the other is to finish with the olive oil. And you really should in your kitchen, have two varieties of olive oil. One, which is more, I'm not going to say pedestrian, which is you would cook your eggs and cook with it. And then have another finer olive oil that you're going to finish, as you're going to drizzle on your salad and drizzle on your bread at the end. And the other thing everyone has to remember is olive oil is a very, very seasonal product. Too many of us leave it on the back of the stove and let it sit there for months or weeks. And it really should be used fresh and as quickly as possible, because it is a perishable seasonal item.
I agree. At our house, that's not an issue, because it's like we're constantly running out of olive oil, because it's just we couldn't live without it.
Exactly.
Definitely contamination, a wonderful contamination from our years in Italy. Umberto.
Yeah, no, exactly, Peter. Great points about that. In fact, as I was saying, we do a lot of education as well on our different profile of olive oil. We have even on YouTube in the US, we have a team dedicated that does everyday recipes to communicate and to drive the customer to see how it's better to use one kind of olive oil instead of another one for a specific dish, when you do fish, when you do meat, when you do a soup, or just you drizzle on a salad. But it's very important. It's also to understand then also the harvest of the olives is once a year, and every year you really don't know what will be the outcome, because it really depends from how was the season, how was the weather. So every year we really have also to understand what the next year could be based on what is the harvest. And this is again to go back to the comparison on the wine industry, right? Like in the wine industry, you can then understand how your year will be based on what the harvest outcome is.
So many analogies with wine, and just to bring it all back home, and I know Umberto and Peter will agree with me, we're all coming to the same kind of moment, is that, you know, we spend so much attention on wine and where it's from and who made it and how it's made and what the vintage was and what the variety is and the provenance of the wine. And then we pour the crappiest olive oil on our food. And it's like I see that so much, you know, after we get done with conquering the world with olive oil, I want vinegar as my personal pet project, where again, like there's a $300 bottle of wine and $1.50. I'm not saying $1.50 vinegar can't be good, but you're not putting the same attention into something that's very much part of what is the whole culinary experience. And I love what these guys, they're young, really smart guys, as we can see from Umberto. You know, this is the guy you want to be talking to about olive oil, in my opinion. Any thoughts, questions? Everyone, welcome here. Melody.
Hey, so everything you're saying about olive oil, it's so true. When I went to Umbria, I guess it was 2 years ago now, I went to Marfuga Olive Oil Production Center and really just learned, wow, the olive oil I've been using is crap at my normal TV, Kroger, wherever I'm going. So I'm really mindful of it now. So I was really excited to receive these products from Zucchi and will be using. But my question is, like, when I run out, where can I get more of this? I know you said it's available in Texas. Is it only available to order online, or is it in stores somewhere on shelves?
Yeah, so we have in central markets, thanks to Manuel right now. And we are then looking to expand more. Online, you can find in some, for example, as Maurizio was saying, on magnifico.com, which is an Italian specialty store online where you can buy Zucchi olive oil. So online, you can find it easily now in the US, but also in any central market location right now. You can find
That's great to know, because
and we are also planning to do more activity because, I mean, after the pandemic will be over, we hope very soon, we want to go back also in the store, you know, and trying to do demo and organize also this blending experience and these olive oil tasting in store, you know, because it's extremely important to us to speak with the consumer, right? So to tell them why to choose one olive oil, or not just our brand, you know, I'm saying just why you should have different olive oil, as Peter was saying, in your kitchen, your pantry, because when you finish your product or when you're just drizzling on salad or on top of like some meat or fish, you should have at least 1 or 2 different olive oil. And then, I mean, about oils in general, there is a real big word, because then there is also the seeds oil for frying. So there is really
the great news is that we're gonna have Umberto back. You're giving away the store, Umberto. No, we're gonna have another opportunity to taste these oils. They are in Texas, so that's great. Central market, and yes, you can buy them online. And Melody, did you already dig into your olive oil at all? Did you taste any of them?
I have not yet, but I definitely am gonna put it in a cup, smell it first, taste it in the traditional way before I even put it on any food.
This is usually the cup we use. We always recommend, we will try to give you guys, everyone, these cups. So where you heat the olive oil and then you taste and then try to.
And Melody, I'm so glad you said that, and thank you for, you know, sharing that experience in Italy. Again, we don't pay, you know, look at us wine tasting and getting all the, you know, education and all the post-nomials and wine educating. But then what about olive oil? Like, stop and do what you said. Put it, you know, and it's great if you have the cup from Umberto. But if you don't, take a small cup and just put some olive oil and warm it up in your hand. If you know, just warm it up a little bit and smell it, the aromatic character, and then put it in your mouth and then taste it. And taste it like a wine. And man, this whole new world opens up to you. And olive oil, kind of like wine, is just one of those things that once you get into it, it's like a kind of elixir of life. It's I know people in Italy who take a tablespoon of olive oil just every day. I mean, you know, it's olive oil is it just changes your life when you get into it, like the way Melody has, and the way, and honestly, in America, we haven't had that opportunity yet. We haven't had enough of an olive oil culture. Tracy and I love this stuff. We buy most of our olive oil from California because of the provenance thing. And we want to know where, and I love what these guys do in terms of provenance and transparency. And it's pretty special that we have it here.
Yeah, I also wanted to, sorry, just quickly say, like, mainstream American marketing makes you think that olive oil is somehow bad to cook with, that it somehow degrades at a certain temperature or this or that. And I actually like asked the owner of Marfuga about that, because I was really like just questioning, no, like I studied abroad in Sicily. I know the Mediterranean diet is great. Like I know that olive oil is not causing cancer because we have all of Italy here doing great and all they use is olive oil. So I think it's really interesting that, you know, we've been taught here in America, like, oh, use grapeseed or use like peanut or different types of oil if you're frying or something different like that, when really olive oil is perfectly fine for that and equipped for it as well.
Yeah, when you're in a village in Sicily, you're not going to like, oh, honey, pick up some peanut oil at the HEB so I can fry the,
right,
whatever I flew in from Norway. No, you're like, there's the anchovies that they brought in today, and there's the tuna they brought in, you know, and it's a whole, it's one of those, Melody, I'm so glad you said that about I remember you telling me about your trip to Sicily, and it's so true that, like, just like you, I think everybody on this call, except for the Italians, of course, who had the great fortune to grow up there, we all had, for lack of a better word and for a cliche, an epiphany when we kind of had that. Me too, exactly. You know, I loved hearing that story, how you go like, wow, and then you go back, and then the next time it's the olive oil taste, and you're like, wow, okay, this is. And we're so lucky to work in Italian food and wine and have, guys, I just miss Italy. I've kind of been depressed lately about not, you know, there's not the fairs coming up and we don't know when we can go back. And I know Dale is missing Europe, and I don't think they got, you know, of course they didn't get to go to their summer. They have a place in France near Italy, you know, we're all missing Italy these days. Who else? Anybody else? And guys, let's have, it's also
Jeremy,
again,
sorry, this is Federico speaking, just to jump in, because what you just said, as well as Melody, it's really true. That's why, for example, during the week of the Italian cuisine in November, it's a weekly event we usually organize worldwide. Here in Houston, one of the most relevant events, it's always a seminar or webinar last year on the benefits of the Mediterranean diet. Scientists, professionals always expose, promote their studies about the benefits of the Mediterranean diet. And every year it's impressive what we discover, from fatty liver treatment to diabetes, of course, to neurological consequences, and so on. So it's really something that is closely related to the Mediterranean and Italian way of life, and of course, food and wine.
It's Dr. Chataglia, Consul Chataglia, I'm so glad that you said that, because, you know, and you said earlier about, you know, science, you know, we're interacting with Italy on so many different levels. Health and food products is such a big, Italy is, you know, gosh, none of us have been to Italy for a year. It's so depressing, but I can see Arlene shaking her head. But you know that everywhere you go, people are into sustainable food. We're just catching on to that. And the idea, to me, I mean, apropos what Melody said and what you're saying, Consul Chataglia, to me, it was how much healthier I was once I started going back to Stefano in my university days, eating in the cafeteria at the university. I was like, I'm so much more healthy. And I felt better. And it's so interesting the role that Italy plays. all of these food products, including, I would argue, the wine, also are part of this, all part of this system of healthy, of these antioxidant heavy foods that have fats that are easier for our bodies to deal with. There's so much that we're learning. I wish everybody could walk down just a regular old town in Italy and see it's like natural foods, it's organic foods, biodynamic foods, and then I want to add one thing to what Dr. Chataglia said, and that is that, and this ties us back especially to Zucchi, is that sustainability in Italy is not seen as a marketing asset. It's seen as a civic responsibility. And I can see Dr. Chataglia nodding in approval.
It is absolutely true. As a matter of fact, we just discussed few weeks ago, even industrial products in the food and wine sector are really and fundamentally different from an industrial product made in USA. So even there, you can find such a high quality that this is really helpful. It's really something apart from traditions, I would say craftsmanship. Of course, you have to work, and in Europe, we work 3 times more than an average American citizen. And it's healthier. But if you start from industry, if you start from mass production, and if you start with high quality mass production, it's really important. And this is something that really helps to live a healthier life.
Federico, where are you located? Because there's a beautiful sunlight behind you. You're not in Texas.
Yes, I'm absolutely in Texas, in Houston, in the Galleria area, River Oaks, but there are some technical issue that I used to for this direct.
You know, I want to take the opportunity to mention for olive oil enthusiasts like Jeremy and I, my friend Peter Grishka has a beautiful large variety of Italian, Spanish, Greek olive oils and other areas. And I highly suggest you that you swing by there. Cheeses and take a look at the olive oil. It's and the balsamic vinegar. It's really fantastic.
And yeah, I mean, Peter, it's been amazing having you on these calls, and you know, that's been one of the great things about these calls also is connecting people. When you go in to see Peter, when you're ready, when you're feeling comfortable to do that kind of shopping, tell him the Italy-America Chamber of Commerce and the Consulate General sent you. And guys, it's Peter, please.
I just want to say thank you to Friedel, and thank you to Friedel. And I won't be there tomorrow and Friday, but next week I'll be happy to talk to anyone.
It's spring break for Peter too, right? The most beautiful thing, as much as I love all the food and wines that we've enjoyed on these, is meeting new people and creating community. Guys, it's 9 o'clock. We've taken up an hour and a half of your time. It's so wonderful to see everybody. I miss everybody so much. Friedel, man, I just can't wait till we all are like in a wine bar together, having a glass of wine and sharing something from Monti Trentini or whatever it is. It's really great. God, Sandra and Scott, I didn't even say hi to you. Melissa, it's great to see you. Mauro, ciao vecchio. So many Melania's on the call tonight. Dale, Mike, Arlene. I know I'm leaving so many people off, but thank you guys for being here tonight. Stay in touch. There's like I said, I'm going to hit anybody who we have spots for the olive oil tasting, and I'm sure we're going to be doing, you know, some more of these soon. And I don't know, guys, thank you. I'm glad to see everybody. I'm hoping everybody's well. Special thanks to Alessandra for making like just the impossible happen. Maurizio Gambarucci, or as my series says, Gambarucci. My children think that's the funniest thing ever. for the kind of the brain, and Brando and Alessia for just believing in us. All of our crazy scheme, all these plans we make. You guys are like so supportive and are always there to back us up. And when we trip and fall, you're always the first to say, "Okay, guys, it's okay, get up." And we love you for that. And thanks especially to our producers and all the people who took time out, Umberto, Stefano Viero,
thank you guys.
Friedel, who brings us so much of the stuff, Manuel Guzman, who I don't know so well, but another one of Peter, another one of our food professionals, and then all the rest of you guys, just thank you for showing up. It's so good to see you. And remember, we have community, and that these, at the end of the day, all these things bring us together. And we're glad that Guy enjoyed his wine tonight. That was really good. Anybody have any news to share before we go? And I don't want to keep you guys, but if you want to stay and visit a little bit, anybody have any news?
I just want to say something as my last comment. I want, of course, to thank you, each of you, because for me this is an important, a very important meeting, because I have my parents here.
Oh my gosh, Friedel, that's amazing.
My father, Friedel,
Nice to meet you.
senior, is 86. My mom is 80, and they both had the vaccination last week, and they're staying with us to have the second one. And when Mauro and Silvia there told us, arrange this, the meeting with Mauricio Gamberucci, my mom said, I really would like to be there, because they hear a lot about you, Jeremy. We have told you how well educated you are, like an ambassador of Italian culture. And so here they are, and they're very, very happy to be here, part of the Italian cultural, the Italian culture and the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Alessia. So thank you very much to all of you.
Friedel, that's so sweet of you to say that. And I love you guys. I love our community. And you said it so great. And it's so nice to meet your parents. And man, the news they got their vaccine, that's just, that made my night. I love, we're finally getting to the light at the end of the tunnel on this. And that's great news. It's lovely to meet you folks. Thank you for being here. And Friedel, you said it so good. So well, Italy, Italian food, and I'm sure Dr. Chitalia would agree with me, it's not just food, it is culture, right? To me, and my whole thing is each glass of Sangiovese or Cesanese or to me, the product of the night though was the Vetsina cheese. That was like, came out of something out of my past, that it opens a story. It's somebody, who was saying we tell stories with these wines, these foods, and it's so true. That's what's so great about Italian food. Every story is about a valley, about a people, about a language, about a culture that we then all of a sudden we start to remember all of our humanity, which we could all use a lot of right now. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Guys, it's lovely to see everybody. Stay in touch. Hit me and Maurizio up if you want to be on a list, if you want to be on a tasting. I'll remind you that we're expecting in 2022 that there's going to be lots of opportunity to go to Italy. I want to be on a trip. Can you imagine that trip that we're all going to, like, all of us could be on a trip? Let's make it happen. I love you guys. It's great to see everybody. Be safe, be well. Call us if you need anything. We want to be in touch with you. Have a great night and great holiday. Happy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Grazie mille.
Passover.
Grazie.
Grazie. Buonanotte.